All right. Let's do this. So, thank you for hopping on first and foremost. At the end of this presentation, you will be able to have some tangible tips that you can start doing right away to get through the holidays without any weight gain, without any guilt, mostly related to food, and with a confidence game plan for the holidays, but also for 2021. So, the reason that I put together this presentation is because I come from a place of feeling lots of different feels. I used to feel so frustrated that I would overeat during the holidays, no matter what plan I had in place beforehand. So, I'm curious if you have ever felt frustrated. Or have you ever felt upset that you couldn't stick to your macros or your calorie goal or container count or whatever it is that you had so brilliantly planned in advance, but you couldn't stick to it? Or maybe guilty for actually eating what you wanted over the holidays, or worried that you would gain weight during the holidays, or self conscious in the outfits that you decided to wear or wanted to wear, or maybe out of control with no routine during the season. That all of those emotions was me, and I am now on the other side of that. So if you have felt any of those or all of those emotions, you are in the right place for me to guide you tonight. My name is Samantha, if you don't know me, and I am going to go on through this presentation to teach you how I went from the version of myself where I was sitting in my parents' den when I was visiting for Christmas, and I used to be obsessed with my Fitness Pal. And I was using that app, and I was tracking what I was expecting myself to eat on Christmas Day. So I was putting in, my mom's homemade cinnamon rolls and the different types of cookies and how many I would allow myself. And it was not a good feeling because it was severely restrictive. I was counting calories in a way to make sure I ate under a certain calorie amount. And a lot of those calories were from sugar. It wasn't even good calories. And it was just a really unhealthy obsession to the version of me now, where just a couple years ago, I was home sitting in that same den and eating a Mexican wedding cake, which is also a Russian tea cake, and such amazing cookies. And I had one, and then I went back into the kitchen because I wanted more, and I had two more. And after my third one, I realized I had zero guilt behind it, the fact that I had three or that went back for more. I had zero awareness. I mean, I knew I'm like a pro at calorie counting, so I knew generally how many calories it was, but I just didn't care. I was just so filled with joy and freedom and happiness during the holidays and with all the food choices. And that is what I'm hoping to instill in you tonight. So, before we officially get started, I would love to hear from you. If you had to pick one, which would you choose? Christmas cookies or Christmas cocktails? And I just launched a poll, and I'll give you just a minute to vote and see what you are. I honestly don't know what I would say. It depends on the day. Today, I would say wine for sure. We're tied in the poll right now, 50-50. Let's see. Oh, one more for cocktail came in. And we often feel like we have to choose sometimes, right? Do you ever feel like you have to choose? Like I'll either have the cookies or the treats, or I'll have the cocktail or the wine or whatever it may be. Christmas cocktails is winning tonight. So you actually don't have to pick and choose. And I'm going to show you my guilt-free game plan so that you can have both with zero guilt. First and foremost, nothing is off limits. I've been to the place where I was very restrictive, as I had mentioned. And I would say, I will not have this type of cookie, or I will not have this drink, or I will only have one of this. And when you do that, when you put foods or drinks or whatever completely off limits, you are subconsciously telling your brain to start thinking about that. Right? Have you ever done that? You're like, I won't do this. And then all of a sudden, it's the only thing that you're craving. And the opposite is actually true as well. When you allow yourself to have whatever it is that you want, since it's no longer on the naughty list, right? Pun intended. You're not obsessing over it, and if it does, that cookie comes your way or that glass of cabernet comes your way, you're like, I will have this and I will enjoy it. So mentally, the mindset behind allowing yourself whatever it is that you want will physically make you want it less. But of course, have it if it does come your way with zero guilt. So nothing is off limits. And if you need someone to tell you that, you can say, Sam, your mentor, said you can have this throughout the whole holiday season. This isn't just about Christmas Day. My tip number two is pick what you want to splurge on. What I mean by this is there are certain foods or drinks or whatnot that are super indulgent, right? That have like tons of calories or fat or sugar or whatever it is, and or carbs. So some people are nervous to eat carbs. Whatever it is, pick what you want to splurge on so that you can mentally prepare for it, so that you don't show up and that treat or whatnot is presented and you immediately feel guilt like, ooh, I shouldn't have this, or ooh, I should only have one serving of this. So you know this is going to happen and I'm going to splurge on it and it's a-okay. And then I'll share with you a little bit later on what to do with the rest of all of the Christmas dishes that are being passed. And my third tip for my guilt free game plan is water first and after. My favorite analogy for this is just imagine yourself eating a piece of chocolate, right? Maybe it's one of those Dove chocolates, the heart ones, and you put it in your mouth and it tastes so creamy and delicious. And if you let it and you swallow it, and if you let that flavors sit in your mouth long enough, you want another one. So you might unwrap another one and pop that one in, and then you want another one. Has anyone ever felt that way where you just kind of want a little bit more and then a little bit more? And then have you ever had water after a piece of chocolate and then you went back for more chocolate? It's just not the same. It's just not. If you've never tried it, try it. It's just the chocolate doesn't taste the same. It feels like it doesn't melt the same way in your mouth. And so my tip here is drink water first before your treat that you're going to be having, because what that does is it makes sure that you are satiated, that you're not actually, they say drink water to see if you're actually hungry and having these cravings. This might not even be a craving or hunger. It's just a treat that you're enjoying around the holidays. But having water first will make sure that you are a little bit more full and then you can enjoy the treat. And then the water afterwards does just that. It cleanses your palate. So, of course, if you want more, I'm going to say go for it. But chances are you will not want more, or at least as more that you would have had if you didn't have that water. So water first and after your desired treat. Next up is the calorie obsession. And I mentioned calorie obsession because that was my struggle, was calories, but maybe yours is carb related or macro related, any sort of obsession with food. I really had to break that cycle for me because it was a dangerous relationship with food that wasn't giving me any results, right? It wasn't helping me get skinnier, which I thought was my goal at the time. And it wasn't helping me enjoy the holiday season. And I was thinking back to what was I thinking when I was in that moment, in that den, tracking everything like crazy. And I had this realization that they were all fear based thoughts. I was thinking, if I eat this, then I can't eat that later. And insert, whatever it is that it's your trigger food, maybe there. So if you eat this now, then you won't eat that later, right? Very restrictive. Or I'll only have one of these. If I stay within my calorie limit, it'll be okay. This is one where my calorie limit at the time was about 1,200 calories. And it was 1,200 calories of sugar and not good things. But in my head, it was okay because I still met that goal, which is unhealthy. Where I was so paranoid that I was going to gain weight, or I was so paranoid that others noticed how much I was eating. I also would have like one cookie on my own with everyone around, and then I would go in the kitchen where no one was and stuff a couple more in my mouth. And I was paranoid, like, what if somebody saw, or what if somebody noticed that there were fewer cookies? Really unhealthy thoughts that obviously were fear based. And to swap it with joy based thoughts has made a world of a difference in truly experiencing joy during the holidays, especially around food. So I transitioned those thoughts to it's the holidays. I can eat this now and I can eat this later with zero guilt or judgment from myself. Right? No one else is judging us. We're judging ourselves for what we're eating and how much we're eating. So enjoy it now and later. And again, jumping back to that restrictive mindset, once you break that restrictive mindset and you are allowing yourself these foods, you're going to want it less, right? It might sound crazy and backwards, but I promise you, you will, maybe the first day that you allow yourself these things, you might go overboard, and hopefully with pure joy and like, Sam told me that this was okay. But eventually it won't be desirable because it's not, that food isn't on your naughty list anymore. You can have it whenever you want. B, plan ahead, but allow for impromptu changes. So I told you earlier to plan for your splurge, right? But there might be a dish that comes around at Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve dinner or New Year's Eve, whatever it is. And you're like, whoa, that looks amazing. And it also does not look healthy. That's okay too. So plan in advance for the thing that you want to splurge on, and as well as veggies and proteins, right? I don't want you to go and eat all of the cookies, because by the end of the holidays, you're going to feel like a Christmas cookie. So this isn't about that, but it's just about allowing yourself to have those things. And then impromptu changes can happen. Like maybe those sweet potatoes that are filled with brown sugar and marshmallows and such goodness, that might be a craving that you might have as it gets passed around this year, and that's okay. So releasing any guilt and restriction tied to what you plan on eating. C, realize that you will not gain weight that stays on your body from one indulgent meal or one indulgent treat. And I even am going to say from one indulgent day. If you just go overboard all day, again, hopefully guilt-free, you might gain a pound or two, maybe the next day, or even 5 pounds the next day, but it will not stay. It will, because every day isn't like that. So realize it's okay. If weight does come on, it will not stick around unless you keep eating that way. And lastly, you're honoring the time and love that someone spent into making that food. And this is kind of a tricky one, because I think sometimes we eat out of guilt for the other person, if that makes sense. I don't know if you guys have ever felt that, but when somebody else makes someone something and is like, here, I made this, want to try it, you almost feel like you have to try it. So I don't want you to feel that. Do not have it if you don't want it. But if you do choose to enjoy something like that, the joy-based thought behind it is that you are pleasing that other person. That other person's gonna be like, oh my gosh, so many of my, stuffed dates are gone, which are actually amazing if you've never had them. They're all gone. People must have really enjoyed them. So enjoy that feeling too, of almost giving back and giving joy to somebody else. And last but not least, some of these things you might be like, if I followed all of these, I would 1000% gain 10 pounds and, feel like super heavy and not happy. But practice makes perfect. Take a couple of these tips, and over the course of really every day or every holiday, however you want to look at it, eventually, I promise you that you can break the guilt and break the obsession during the holidays from all of the foods that's being passed around. So let's talk about Christmas dinner. This is where a lot of people get nervous that there's going to be tons of foods and they're going to go overboard, and then they're going to feel super lethargic afterwards. And I have 3 tips that will help you enjoy Christmas dinner, have whatever it is that you want without gaining weight and without having any guilt. Number 1, avoid saving up for later. What I mean by this is, don't think, ooh, Christmas dinner is going to be a really big meal. I'm not going to have breakfast or lunch. Or I'm going to only have, one piece of toast for breakfast and then one egg for lunch, and then, your average Christmas dinner. Don't save up like that, because then you're going to get to Christmas dinner, you're going to be so super hungry, and then you do risk going overboard and not feeling great afterwards. The point is that we want to feel good when we're going about the holidays. So instead, have your breakfast, have your typical breakfast, have your typical lunch, and then enjoy your Christmas dinner. And what this will do, you'll show up at Christmas dinner, you won't be ravenous, but you will be still hungry for food, and you will actually get to eat the amounts of food that you want that will result in feeling good and not feeling bloated and like you completely stuffed yourself and ate too much. Tip number 2, quench your thirst. This is so important. Water is so important for our bodies and mind and skin and all of that. But for Christmas dinner, what I challenge you to do is have 16 ounces of water before you even eat anything. So this can be maybe, and this one is tough during holidays, especially because you likely will be carrying a glass of wine, right? Or some other beverage. And it's hard to remember, oh, I should go drink some water. But just have that one goal of 16 ounces before your dinner, and that will help you start to fill up just a tiny bit and get your insides moving a little bit in a good way. And if you want, also challenge yourself to do 16 ounces during dinner and 16 ounces after dinner. The next step, if you really want to go crazy, set a water goal for the day. Because likely, if it's anything like my family, we kind of pick and eat all day long. It's not really just one Christmas dinner. We have homemade cinnamon rolls in the morning, and then we have kind of like a mix and mash of whatever for lunch, and then it's Christmas dinner at the end of the day. So for the whole day, I set a water goal of at least 100 ounces up to 128 ounces, which is a gallon of water, which is a lot. You do not need to do that. The rule of thumb is to have half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you should aim for about 100 ounces. If you weigh 150, go for about 75 ounces. So that's kind of the rule of thumb with lots of different variables. But choose a goal that you can have for the whole day. And then that way, whenever you think of it, and you can also set reminders in your phone, you can go have a couple sips of water. Last but not least, for Christmas dinner strategy, food groups. I have tried keto in the past. I'm not sure if anyone on has done keto or any of those crazy diets. We need carbs, we need veggies, we need proteins, we need fats, we need all of it. Veggies help make us full, right? If this is our stomach, we want to fill a lot of it with veggies because it makes us full. And then proteins keep us full. Carbs actually give us energy and aid in digestion. And fats are really healthy, fats are really good for us too. So, my trick for you for Christmas dinner is to have all those food groups, right? And they might not be the healthiest food groups, right? Like your carbs might be mashed potatoes, which is not super healthy, but it's okay. It's the holidays. Start though with your veggies on your plate. Start eating your veggies first and then move to the proteins and then your carbs. Okay. And then if you want seconds of anything, totally fine, but follow that same process. Veggies again, and then proteins, and then carbs. So usually we end up craving a carb that we want more of. We want more mashed potatoes or more of the sweet potatoes or more of the biscuits, the homemade biscuits on the table, whatever it is. And maybe your carbs isn't your thing. Clearly it's my thing, but that's totally okay. Allow yourself to have that, but also take a little scoop of broccoli and then a little scoop of whatever protein choices you have at your table, and then go for that. And what this will do mentally is you're going to be thinking, am I really hungry enough to have those things, even if it's just a little bit? Or is it just that I'm trying to satisfy an emotion? Am I eating that more emotionally versus because I'm actually hungry for it? So allow yourself to have that, but challenge yourself to truly have a veggie, protein, and then the carb. And if you are craving the veggie, just have the veggie. If you're craving the protein, veggie, and then protein, for the reason that we want to make ourselves full, keep us full, and then add that energy at the end. Routine tips. This is one of my favorite parts. I don't know about you, but there is nothing routine about, well, first of all, my schedule at all right now. Second of all, about Christmas this year. But third of all, Christmas, every holidays every year, our routines get all out of whack, right? And so I do have some tips for you to try and create a flexible routine that makes you feel in control. First and foremost, think what's important to you. Is waking up early important to you? What about exercise and getting in that workout, or trying to eat healthy, or visiting family and friends, journaling, reading, quiet time, craft time? playing with your kids, whatever it is, know what's important to you. What are the elements of your current routine that you love having? And we're going to bring that into the new flexible routine that we're going to create. But second, know your day. Know if as best as you can, right? We never know in the holidays like what's going to be thrown our way. But generally speaking, will you be traveling certain days where you're going to be in a car the majority of the day, or at least for a couple of hours? How long will you be visiting family or visiting friends? How much personal time will you have, if any? Sometimes you won't have any. So knowing, kind of like picturing your day, what will that look like for you? Will you have time to incorporate those favorite staples of your routine that you do right now? And then thirdly, know your resources. If exercise is important to you, will you have access to your local gym or Beachbody On Demand or the Peloton app or whatever it is that you use? Will you have access to that? Will you have access to make your own meals, or maybe to a grocery store that has the meals that you like there, that has healthier options? Will you have a car if you want to travel? Will you have help to have somebody watch the kids? Will you have the actual um, craft materials to make the craft that you want to do? So knowing your resources that will be available to you, and then you can create your routine. So if we just look over here on the left, this is one example where maybe your morning is me time. This is where you get to do what you love about your current routine. You do your workout, you prep some meals for the day, or maybe you just plan your meals in advance like we talked about earlier. You're able to shower, get dressed, and do all of those personal things. And then afternoons might be for family and fun. So this is open time. You can do crafts, you can meet with family, maybe you go meet with your friends. This mentally is open. Whatever happens, happens. Late afternoon, you can pencil in some quiet time. Even if it's 30 minutes or an hour, your quiet time is when you can journal or nap or meditate. And then evening could be for family, where you make dinner or you go out for dinner. Notice this is general enough so that it's not, you don't have to be super strict. Dinner, you might order out, or someone's going to make it, or maybe you are making it, and then maybe you want to bake after dinner. So this is what one type of routine could look like. And then another type on the right hand side is maybe mornings are for families. This is when you might have a family breakfast. You all wrap gifts together, and this is the open time that you just let whatever things arise. But then afternoons, you and everyone else that you're with knows this is your personal me time. This is when you can read and meditate and journal and nap. If you have to check into your business or do any personal things like that, afternoons is where you do it. And then as you can see, maybe late afternoon and evening can be for family and fun. So choose a time of the day that you will be able to get in your favorite staples from your current routine while having a little bit of structure and keeping your routine open or schedule open so that you do have some sort of control without being a total control freak over the holidays. So another question for you. Do you question everything or even some things? Oh, 1 second. Here we go. Do you question some things or everything? Right now, I am at a point in my life where, oh, we're not even on the right side. Sorry about this. Where I question everything. I am questioning things about motherhood. I question, do I have, hold on, can you guys see my screen? It says sharing is paused. We see Zoom. Okay, let me stop share completely. What about now? Let me see. I can't see the chat anymore either. Good to go. Awesome. Thank you. So votes are coming in. So like I was saying, I question myself all the time about everything, but around the holidays, I tend to question myself even more. I question if I made a meal, would everyone like it? I even want to make Christmas cookies for my neighbors this year. And my first thought was, will they like the cookie? Or do they have a food allergy? Or what if they don't like chocolate and I decide to make those chocolate crinkle cookies? Like questioning myself about every little thing. I also tended to question myself about how I would look in an outfit that I wanted to wear, if I should change my shoes, if the gifts that I got for everybody, if they will actually like them, if I remembered to bring everything with me, right? It's like complete overwhelm. So I asked you guys if you always question yourself or just sometimes. It looks like it's a little bit, most of you guys do always like me, and some of you do sometimes. The thing here is that when you question yourself, it's doubt, right? We're doubting ourselves and our capabilities, and that creates insecurity. So I want you to choose to remove the doubt. Choose to remove that question. And the short answer here is you are doing everything perfectly. You got the most perfect gift for that person. You made the most perfect dish and they're going to be loving your cookies or that sweet potato casserole. Everything that you do is perfect. And just having the confidence behind that will remove that doubt and create happiness and joy instead of insecurity and questioning and always trying to do the right thing. So you're doing everything perfectly. You're wearing the right thing. Everything is perfect about what you are choosing to do. And also keep in mind, no one else is questioning you or judging you or comparing you, right? No one else is doing that. We are the ones that bring that upon ourselves. We are judging ourselves for what we're eating or wearing or comparing the gift that we got to the gift that somebody else got or just questioning all those things that we just covered and more, right? But no one else is. And this is one of the tips from my breakthrough masterclass that everyone is like, blows their mind because it is this simple. You get to choose that you are the person that you need to be and doing all the things that you need to be happy and to make everybody else happy as well, even though everyone else's happiness is not your problem, but you are doing everything perfectly. So, the next steps, we've talked about a whole bunch of things tonight, and it honestly can be a little bit overwhelming. So, I would love for you to kind of go through your notes, and I will be emailing out the recording, and just pick a few tips that really hit home to start practicing. So, if the water tip was one that you're like, oh, yeah, I know that I don't drink enough water. One of my clients, Bryn, that one tip alone helped her completely transform her nutrition because I guarantee if you don't drink enough water and you start, you're going to feel a difference. So pick just a couple tips that you want to start implementing and even start practicing them now before Christmas Eve and Christmas Day so that the whole holiday season you're feeling this refreshing freedom feeling. Second, if you do feel like you need more guidance on breaking through any of the insecurities, not just related to the holidays, but related to anything in life or the whole comparison game or self doubt, and you need some help gaining confidence and attracting more good, then I would encourage you to learn more about my Breakthrough Masterclass. That is the course that I created literally for that reason, for you, if you are feeling struggling with self-doubt and comparison and low self-esteem and feeling like you're in a funk and you can't find your groove or you do and then you fall off and then you do and then you fall off. My breakthrough masterclass is to help you break through those negative habits that keep you where you are, if we're being honest, that's preventing you from getting to the next level, whether it's mentally just in your headspace or within your career or any of the areas in your life. And so, what I decided to do was for anyone that is watching live or watching the recording, is I'm opening up my calendar for 10 people to have a free one-on-one call with me. I call them my confidence calls, where we're just going to talk about you and how you're doing and what your goals are and what you're looking to do, but more importantly, how you're looking to feel and come up with a game plan for how to help you get there and chat a little bit more about what it would look like for you and I to work together. So you can register for a call. Again, there's only 10 spots and there's about 54 people that have registered for this webinar. So just go to the link that you see here, bit.ly/confidence is my bay. And that's where you can register. And there's no obligation to actually sign up for the Breakthrough Masterclass if we do have this call. Just a fun get to know me and I get to know you. And I can help you create that plan to break free, and break through whatever is holding you back right now. But only 10 spots. Two slots are already accounted for since this is our second webinar of the week. So head to bit.ly/confidence is my bay if you're interested in that. And if not, and if you're not already registered for my free weekly Mojo emails, you can totally do that too. Again, totally free. And I just give a little bit of tips and sometimes like healthy recipes, anything that I think will elevate you and uplift you and bring you some joy. And you can subscribe here at samanthapenkoff.com/subscribe. So I hope that you were able to get a lot of tips tonight on things that will help you feel free and also enjoy the holidays, even with all of the foods, the delicious foods, and all of the things that you love about the holidays. But you won't have any guilt this year or for the next year and the years to come. So, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and reach out if you have any questions. Happy holidays.